Welcome to the Look Who It Is podcast, where we sit down with artists to talk music, life, and all the stories in between. Now here's your host, Dane Engel.
Hey everyone, today I'm talking with Ebony Nicole, indie pop singer-songwriter out of Virginia, who's been making music since 2017. All right, so for people who don't know who you are, just give me a little bit about yourself.
Sweet. So I'm Ebony Nicole. I'm a singer and a songwriter out of Harrisonburg, Virginia. And I actually started doing my own music about 2017-ish. I kind of finally got the courage to not just like sing in my room and for my family, but actually like go and play and join other people and like network and different things like that. So I've been writing songs for a little while, but I've been like actually playing them out since about 20. Went to school to do early education. And so I have my early education degree, and that gave me a licensure from pre-K all the way up to third grade. And for the past 3 years, I was a kindergarten teacher. And this is my first year. I didn't sign my contract, and I said, I'm putting out an album, so I'm just gonna try to do music and see where that takes me. And so I'm looking forward to the adventure and seeing, where I end up.
Nice, yeah. So I guess when did music start for you before that? Like when did you fall in love with music?
Oh man, I've been singing since I was about 3 years old. And I've been writing music since I was around 11, 12. But I didn't really learn an instrument until I was 15. And so music has always been integrated in and out of my life. My parents listened to a lot of music. They never played any music, but they listened to a lot of music. And so I have just fallen in love with like, oh my gosh, I can write a song just like what's on the radio. And so I've been doing that for a really, really long time. I just never had like the courage to like be an artist. And so I kind of got the courage when I finally like worked with a producer that also was a fan and they enjoyed my music. And so then I was like, oh, I can do this. Somebody else likes my music other than me. So yeah.
What led you to the producer? Like how did that come about?
Yeah, interesting enough. At first, I had a friend who worked at a music studio, and he was the general like manager of that studio, and he did mostly like hip hop and like R&B type music, and I honestly couldn't afford my friend. And he said, "Well, we got this new guy. Um, his name's Taylor, and you should try him out. I think you guys would like really vibe and gel." And I was like, "Okay." And then he was like, and you'll be able to afford him. He's new. He hasn't really like set his rates, like that sort of thing. And yeah, and we ended up just clicking, and we've been friends for like almost 5, 6 years now. And we've been working together on music for that long. It was the best move. So we had a mutual friend, and that's who introduced us.
Now, the music that you started making to the music you make now, has that changed any?
Yeah, a whole lot. So when I first started writing music, it was very like poem like because I loved writing poems like as a kid. And so I had like, like my stanzas in order. And I don't know that I actually knew what like a verse chorus structure kind of was. I was just like, I can write down all of the words and then try to put a melody to them. And that worked at first. They were like okay songs, you know. They were also like about nothing. And so once I kind of like started living life and experiencing things and writing more like my feelings, and how something made me just react or respond, you know, to a situation, um, then my music became a little bit more in depth and a little bit more complex in a way. Also, when I started really working with Taylor and we started knowing each other a little bit better, um, he was like, well, if we're gonna write pop songs, but we're gonna write love songs, then we got to use lots of sound and we got to make it ambient and we got to, you know, he really like guided me in space in a song and letting people feel the emotion that I was feeling, and how to make that kind of come across through a song. So, yeah, my songs have changed a whole lot.
So you write the lyrics first, and then how do you come up with the melody to go along with those?
Yeah, I think writing is so weird because each song kind of has its own little process. But yeah, I'm a lyric person first before I am a melody person. Only because I think also a journaler and I just like to journal a lot. So I often write things down before it's like said out of me. It's like in my head. So um I think I just have the words first and then I'll pick up a guitar or I'll go sit at a piano and I'm like, oh, this should sound like this or this. And then, you know, lyrics change over time to go with a melody most of the time in most songs. Um, but I'm all about like a really good chorus. If I can get a really good chorus going, then I'm like, okay, we got this. You know, like the other melodies in a verse or the underline tag is just the add-ons to like a really good chorus.
So when you journal, is it usually a chorus that you're writing down?
When I journal, it's usually like, oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe this happened. It's usually like I'm trying to get off all my frustration and all my feelings. I think because like sometimes you can get overwhelmed with what you're feeling that you don't get to the root of it fast enough. So I always find like writing it down or even typing in my phone, like in my notes, getting all the frustration out first and then being able to be like clear headed and say, okay, this is what I'm actually feeling. Let me write something about this because this is the actual emotion that is happening.
Oh, I feel like I should do that.
I feel like I've been journaling for so I don't know, maybe I didn't have enough friends growing up and so I just spent a lot of time with my journal and I used to have journals like with bunches of stickers all over them, you know, like just like putting stuff all over and just I don't know, I could draw stuff out, I could write stuff out, I could just sit there and you know, do the same thing over and over again just because that's how I knew how to like get through, or that was my coping technique, I guess.
Do you still have them?
Yeah, I do. Most of them are in a storage unit right now because I just moved back in with my parents. So most of them are in a storage unit, but they're all like in a huge tote that is like marked like only Ebony. You know, like it's just like
Right.
it's mine. Nobody looks at it but me, that kind of
It's got one of those little heart-shaped locks on it.
thing.
So you're in Virginia right now, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So, but did you grow up in Virginia?
so I did sort of. I have been here since I was going into middle school. And then and that was around like the late 90s, you know. And then I also went to JMU here. So I have been here. But my parents used to open up Costco's all over the US. So I'm originally from Tacoma, Washington, which is right outside of Seattle. And I grew up there a little bit, and then we moved, from place to place to place, and ended up staying in Virginia till I graduated college. So yeah.
So pretty much always just been more in Virginia than, well, a little bit
Yeah,
everywhere, right?
I've been a little bit everywhere, but yeah, more in Virginia and more on the East Coast than I have the West Coast, because Tacoma is the only West Coast place I've been to. We've been to a lot of East Coast places, so.
So did you change a lot of schools in between, or?
Yeah. I I think I was in four or five elementary schools through my elementary school period, which was like wild and crazy, because I feel like that's like your formative years. It's when you kind of like find friends and a friend group and that sort of thing. And so I moved to where we live now in Harrisonburg, when everyone had already had friend groups and they were going to middle school. So you got like cliques, and that sort of thing. So it was kind of, yeah, I kind of made my way into just being one of the like drama and music kind of geeky kids, and that's where I landed and that's where I stayed. So yeah.
Now, did you do any theater?
So I was I'm not an actor by any means. Um, but I did do like musicals and stuff, because when you're a part of choir, and especially like I was a part of like three choirs in my school. So I was like, you have to be a part of like the extras, in musicals and things like that. So yes, I was a part of theater, but not because I was looking to be a part of theater. I was just,
Gotcha.
yeah, I was the extra.
How do you think that rolls into your music?
I mean, if anything, it's taught me how to like, I have a couple videos out, like music videos on YouTube and stuff like that. It's just taught me how to like characterize myself a little bit. And I can smile pretty nicely on camera, and I can like look upset pretty nicely on camera. Those things really taught me. I think theater also taught me to be like pretty photogenic, because we had to like, from like eighth grade on, we had to do like 2 or 3 headshots a year. And so I think I just like learned how to like play up a photo camera, like just like know how to put it on kind of thing. So yeah.
So, I mean, you've already put out quite a bit of music so far, though. You've had a full album out and multiple singles. Do you have an EP out too?
Yeah. So my very first project was an EP. It was like 4 songs. They're very punk rock, because at the time that's who I was hanging out with, was like a bunch of punk rockers, and they were my friends, and I could just get them to play music for me. Um, and that was really cool. And then I put out a bunch of singles at the beginning of 2021, that were supposed to be a second EP. But the studio that I was recording at ended up blowing up. It had like this crazy electrical something happen, and it blew up, and most of my music files were lost, because um the producer I was working with, he didn't back them up, because we were having a session like the next day. So he was like, "Oh, we'll be in the studio, like no worries," kind of thing. And then it ended up blowing up like on that Saturday. And so I lost like 3 out of the 4 songs that we had already recorded. So we ended up having to re-record almost the whole thing, so it didn't come out until the end of 2021. And I just put them all out as singles, because I was like, I'm not gonna wait for all of them to be done. So yeah, so I did that. That was my second like venture into putting music out. And then I did my album for the whole next year. I recorded all year and through the summer and put out my album in 2022, October of 2022. And then that next November, I gathered a bunch of friends that I made over time, in Virginia and through the music scene here in Harrisonburg. I just put out like this big blast email and said, hey, I rented this really cool cabin studio. It's called Ceiling Glade. It's in Mount Solon, Virginia. I was like, if any of you are willing or want to, just come and jam on it's like 4 tracks. Some of the songs you've heard, some of the songs you haven't heard, but just come out whenever you can. I'll be there for 10 hours. So just come out. And I had like 7 or 8 friends come out. And we did 4 songs and then we recorded them live. And so I have a live vinyl as well, that I sell with like my merch and stuff. And so that's another piece of music that I have. And hopefully I'll put those out digitally at some point, but I want to sell all the vinyls first. It's my like marketing scheme.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to come see the show and get it. It's the only way you'll have it, right?
Right. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
good ploy. I mean, I think I only have about 15 left. So out of 100. So I think I did a pretty good job getting them out there.
Now, all your music that you record now, do you like upload it to the cloud and back it up on a thumb drive and burn a CD of it and take it with you?
Yes. It's like triple everything. I also take so much video and like little recordings while we're in the studio, especially like if we find like a special sound or some kind of new instrument like that we're using, because if anything gets lost, I'm like, I have my phone at all times, like I will just go back and look at a video and be like, it was this, or we have to use this again, which is, yeah.
So you're playing out a lot? Do you play a lot of shows?
Yeah, I do. I would say I play like 7 to 8 shows a month right now, which is really nice. It's cool to have lots of connections. I have lots of friends that also play music. So I get put on a lot of bills as well. But I've also made like, especially locally, I've made lots of connections with different vendors and venues here so that I can also be playing there as well. I also put together a lot of shows. I think it's so much fun to play with my friends. So I just put together like a really cool bill, like me and like 2 other people, so that people are getting like their money's worth when they're coming, because I have really cool and talented friends that are always willing to play a show with me, which I'm so grateful for.
The venues probably appreciate you doing the legwork and getting, all that together
Yeah.
and stuff for them too.
Yeah. It's really nice. I always think like Harrisonburg's this little treasure as well, because there's so much great music here.
Do you have a favorite place to play?
Ooh. So right now, in Harrisonburg, my favorite place to play is this place called Sagebird Cider Works. So it's a cidery place, and they actually have an actual listening room for shows. So they have their main tap room, but then they have like these double doors that are like barn doors, and you go into this like little tiny space, and it probably like can hold up to like 45, 50 people in it. But it's like a really, really nice listening room that we have in Harrisonburg right now.
Do the people that you play with, are they, would you say, in the same genre as you?
Not all the time. So I have a friend, his name is Matthew Mazingo. He's great. He's also a singer-songwriter, and kind of does like acoustic stuff like I do when I'm playing live. Um, but a lot of my friends are in bands, so that's a little different they bands sound a lot different than one single person, just pouring out their heart kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I appreciate the bands as well.
Now, have you ever thought about having a band or playing with a band?
Yeah, so for a lot of my live shows, I do at least play like a trio. So my producer, Taylor, he's amazing and he usually comes and plays with me on a lot of my shows. And then I usually find one other person. So whether it be like, oh, I need a bass player, or I have a friend, his name is Perry, and he plays mandolin and violin. And I have a lot of that sound in this new record. So he's been playing with me a whole lot. But I have like a couple of different friends that play multiple instruments so they can just like come on board or not come on board type thing. I've only played twice with a full band before, and it was a lot. It's a lot to have like 5 to 6 people rehearsing and trying to like come together, especially when like it's all your music. Like I feel like bands who write music together, it's really different than people coming together to just play your music.
Yeah, because you'd want it to sound how you want it. And then if they're playing, you want them to sound like your music.
Yeah, and sometimes like certain things are not going to transfer over from the record because maybe you use like a digital drum or like something like that. But yeah, you want it to be as authentic as possible when you're playing with 5 new people, and they might not listen to your music all the time. They might just be musicians who play instruments.
So, from your music that you've put out so far, do you have a favorite song to play?
Ooh, I have two. So the first one is called Take Me Away. And I wrote that for my album, but I wrote it so that the featured artist on that album or on that song is their names are Spectator Bird. They're a sister folk duo. And they're some of my really good friends. And I really wrote the song so that they would sing it with me. And I played that song for an entire year, like at live shows, before I even asked them to sing on it on my album. Like I was just like telling people like, I'm gonna ask my friend Spectator Bird to sing on this song and it's gonna be amazing, all these things. And I was just like putting it out to the universe that they would find the time and say yes to singing on my record. And they did, and it turned out like so great. It was probably one of the first times it wasn't just me and Taylor in the studio as well, because usually it's just me and Tay. And so it was fun, the four of us being there and having the input and just like figuring out what the guitar should sound like and what other instruments we wanted to put along with it. And so that's like one of my favorite songs to play. And I love when I can actually do a show with them and actually play the song together because it's a lot of fun. The other one that I just like love playing so much, or I guess have learned to love to play, is one of my first songs that I ever wrote. It's called Landslide. And it is like the whole song is 3 chords. So it can get kind of repetitive just playing like those 3 chords over and over again. But it's honestly the first song I ever wrote on a guitar and I only knew those 3 chords. So I was like, we're going to write it. And it's just a fun song. It's been like fun to play with different friends, and I make everybody play the acoustic on it. Like everyone's playing an acoustic guitar and we're all just being loud on it. And it's just fun. I don't know. It's just a fun song to play. So
Sometimes I feel like simple songs are the best songs.
that is for sure. I have another song. It's the first track on my album and it's called Say. And it's also one of those like really quick songs. It has maybe 4 chords in it. I don't know. I think it only has 3 too. I think it's only 3 chords, but I wrote it very quickly too. It's like, I think I wrote it in like 10 minutes, and It's not many words. It's kind of the same thing over and over again, but it's such a like impactful, powerful song. And that's so cool to me that you can be like so quick about something and it be so impactful.
So, talking about your writing again, I guess, are your songs very personal? Is it something you've experienced, or is it something like a storytelling kind of?
Ooh. So I try to do a mix of both. So my first album was like this. My second album is like this as well. It's kind of like split down the middle, where I have some very personal songs that are about me and me just growing up and me feeling things and me going through something where I'm learning something. And then I also have songs where I'm like, okay, I felt this way in this situation. Conceptually, people feel this feeling. How can I write a song where everybody can relate to it? So I also write songs that I feel like are just like pure love songs or like about some love tragedy or something, because I feel like everybody has gone through those feelings and they kind of know what that means. And so I just want to connect with other people. But like, yeah, it's always like split down the middle whenever I write. Some songs are very personal and then some songs are not.
When you play them live, are you ever surprised by the reactions you get to some songs compared to others?
Yeah, I actually had my first like, I guess you can call it like a fan run-in, where it was just like, you played my favorite song, and then they told me like a whole story about like how that song they just played over and over again when they were going through a breakup, and how, it helped them and this, that, and the other. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like that's wild, that's kind of wild. But it's also really fun to hear because it's really the reason I wrote it. I want to connect with people on a different level. And I think sometimes people and myself, we just need to hear, I've gone through that, I've been through it, I know what you mean, kind of thing. And when you can connect through music that way, it's so powerful. So yeah.
Do you all of your songs when you write, do you write all of them to be like hit songs? Do you write some you're like, well, I'm putting out an album, it's going to have 10 songs. I'll write 8 great songs and then, I'll just throw a couple of these other songs on there? Or do you just try to make sure that you have like a solid album?
That's such a good question. So for my first record, it was 8 songs and it was supposed to be 10. I ended up cutting 2 of them because they didn't go with the story that I thought, my album was kind of telling. Um, so I did kind of like conceptually put that one, my first album, together because I was really just like telling a story. But this new album that I just got finished writing and it's being like mixed and mastered right now. Um, yeah, each song was its own thing. And I was just happy that they sort of make, I don't know, they weave into each other in some kind of way. Um I I hate to think that I'm a record person, but I kind of am. I like listening to a whole album and I like the story that it tells. I'm not a singles person, even though I've put out singles. I'm just I don't think that I ever think like, oh, I'm just gonna write this song and it's gonna be its own thing. I think once I write a song that I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so good, I want to keep writing other ones that also would go along with it, I think. So
How do you decide in what order to put the songs on the album?
that's a good question. When I figure it out, I will have an answer. I went through a lot back and forth through my first album on, oh, this one should follow this one and these two, they sound too much alike. Let's split them up. And I did a lot of that. And it was more of a hassle than it was good because I put that album out solely digitally. Like there's no physical copies of that album. And so people listen to it in their own like list how they wanted to listen to it. And so it didn't really matter what I did. This one though, I'm actually doing like CDs for and that whole thing. And so I just had to like I think I just had to like listen to them. When I listen to them, I'm like, ooh, what do I want to hear next?
I feel like that would be really difficult because you'd be like, oh, I want to put all my favorite songs right at first. But then
Yeah.
you're right. Like if you put them on Spotify, it goes by streams or something. So then it might jumble them all up anyway.
Yeah, so I think that I have like total favorites on this album, and I actually didn't want to put them so far up. Like I wanted people to like listen to it and then get to it. Like which is like I think which is kind of different. It was kind of different. I don't know. I was like, "Ooh, we should make that one last because people are going to like it's going to be shocking kind of at the end." Um I also did like the one thing I had to do on this new album was the first song and the last song are written in the same key. And they have like a similar kind of riff to them, but one is piano driven and one is guitar driven. But it it makes the album loop really nicely so that you don't even know like, oh, I went back to the first song, which is like my dream album that you're just like listening to it and don't even realize you've started it over again. And so that was very intentional um, on my part. Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. I don't know. I like stuff like that. I feel like other people do too, but maybe they don't know that they like stuff like that. But I feel like when you're intentional about it and when you're intentional about placing something somewhere, it'll reach the right listener and they'll also appreciate it just as much as you do, you know.
It's like when I'll listen to something but I don't hear it, and then I'll read somewhere or see, and they'll talk about an album and how it does something like that, and then I'll be like, oh, I got to go re-listen to that,
Yeah.
and then be like, oh my gosh, it does,
Yeah, it's so much
So
fun. I never thought like curating a group of songs would be so fulfilling, but it really is like really fulfilling. When you like finish a project, you're like, "Oh my gosh, like made that happen." You know, like it's just like it's so cool. So cool.
I like the full albums. I have talked to some people, and it's probably about 50-50. Some people love to make whole albums, and some people just like to release singles.
Which I think in this day and age there's room for both. For sure.
Hmm.
So, I'm glad that there are people who love making singles. And maybe I just haven't made a single that I like truly like love, you know, like that I'm just like, man, that really stands alone, you know, by itself. I don't know.
I want to get into some kind of fun questions. All right. If you could collab with anyone on a song, who would be your dream collab?
Ooh, okay. I'm going to do a producer that I want to collab with, and then I'm going to do a singer that I want to collab with. So, producer that I would love to collab with because he's just like a pop superstar would be Ryan Tedder because he writes just like hits after hit after hit for so many people. Um, he's actually like really like I've seen a couple of things where he's been in the studio and he seems like really cool in the studio like since. But singer wise, I have a favorite singer. I have two favorite singers, but one of them, her name is Sasha Allen Sloan, and she's out of Canada, I do believe. But she's amazing and she just makes sad girl love songs. And it is just like, I don't know, it's the genre I want to be in. It is literally like, it's so nice. And she makes like such sad girl music, but it's so beautiful and so pretty. And she sings kind of monotoned, which is like really cool too, because it's kind of opposite of what most of her instrumentation is like. And I don't know, it would seem really cool. I think I have a very floaty, angelic voice when I'm singing sometimes. And so I think it would be very complimentary of each other to like do a duet or some kind of collab together. Yeah, that would be like a really big dream of mine.
And what is a type of music that you listen to that people wouldn't think that you listen to?
I would say probably like early 2000s country pop, like a good Shania Twain. I Although I live in that weird place where it's like, is Virginia Southern? Is it not Southern? Like that sort of thing. Bluegrass and like old time music and like country music is very big here. Um, and it's not something that I like roll into ever, but you get me like a good Shania Twain ballad. Like I do a cover of like Still the One because it's like ultimately one of my favorite songs and I wish I wrote it. Um and yeah, I mean, you also have like a good, I don't know. I was a big One Direction fan. So I love like One Direction music. Like which is not, I don't know. I don't think that like people who listen to my music would be like, "Oh yeah, she was
Right.
she was into Harry Styles real bad." Like I don't think that people would like know that. So
Were you pretty upset when they broke up?
I was upset when Zayn left. I don't know that I was upset when they like all, went their own ways, but I was older then, so it was okay.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any fun stories from any shows? Like anything that's happened that's just crazy?
Man, do I have any? I wanna say that I do. I will say, so I played at this special place called the Camel. It's in Richmond, Virginia. It's a cool spot, but it's kind of a grungy spot. It's where like rock bands play. And I set up a show there, and it was the coolest show ever because it was the first time I played with my friend Brandon, and one of the first times I played with Taylor. And we all like switched off instruments while we were playing. So like each song we were playing kind of something different. And that was really fun for me. Um, and I wish more people came to that show so that they could see how cool it was. But it ended up being one of my lowest like attended shows, which was like so crazy. I think we played for like 7 people, like honestly, which is so wild. And we made like just enough money ticket sale wise to like pay the sound man that was there that night. So
Nice.
it was a very interesting show to say the least.
Well, maybe those 7 people, you got 7 new listeners that probably never would have seen you or heard you before, right?
So true. So true.
I spoke with a lady the other day, and they do like a party band,
Okay.
and they play a lot of weddings and conventions, corporate events,
Oh my
and
gosh, that's craziness.
they played for 10,000 people.
What? That's
Yeah,
wild.
for like a corporate event, and then the next day they played a grocery store grand opening.
I love that. That's so great.
Yeah,
That's
and she's like,
awesome.
"Hey, if they want to hear us, we'll be
Yeah.
there."
Yeah.
So yeah, they've done it. She
Yeah.
says she likes telling that story,
That's
but
great. That's a good attitude to have. I'm always grateful that it's always just like not my family. When the crowd's just like bigger than my immediate 4 people that are in my family, then I'm good.
yeah. Are they still? Do they come to a lot of your shows?
Yeah, they do. My mom and my dad try to come as much as they can, depending on like how late I play. Because sometimes I'm on a bill and I could be like second to last, and it's like 9:30 or 10 o'clock before I even go on stage. But my sister supports me a lot, and she comes a whole lot to a lot of my shows. So
Awesome.
yeah.
I know as I'm getting older, and it's like I'll go to a concert and I'll be like, oh no, there's 3 openers. I'm not going to make it to the
I know it's a lot.
headliner.
Yeah. I I played a benefit for like the local, I think it was like the local like cat like what are they called? Rescue cat, sorry. It's like a cat
Oh,
rescue.
okay, yeah.
Um the guy who put the bills together, he was like, "Yeah, I have 10 people playing." And I was like, "Oh, that's going to be a lot." Like everybody like 30 to 40 minutes, like that's going to be like a long show. And he goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we want you to be a part of it." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And then I ended up being the last person. And so I didn't even go on until like 10:30 that night. And I swear I already play pretty chill music, but I swear I was like putting drunk people to sleep. Like that's what I felt like the audience was doing. They were just like, yeah, but then they were just like, we like we got to get out of here kind of thing. We're going to fall asleep. And so I felt so bad like being the last one on the bill.
We have a country venue here,
Mm-hmm.
and they have some pretty big people roll through, but they have the opener start at 8:45, and then the headliner goes on at 10:30 at night. And if I go there, I'm like, man, I got to get a hotel because it's about an hour drive, and I'm not going to drive home at 1 a.m.
Right,
It,
right.
my
That's
wife and
so
I, first time we went there, they're like, doors open at 6. So we're like, oh my gosh, we should probably get there. So we got there at 6. We didn't know. So we sat there forever. I think I got drunk and sobered up before anybody even started playing.
yeah, isn't that so nice? I feel like that's a ploy. It's like, get them in here, they'll drink. It's like when restaurants give you bread at first and you get like
Mm-hmm.
so full. And then you're like, I guess I'll eat some more because we've been sitting here for so long waiting for our food.
If it's like Texas Roadhouse, though, I just go for the rolls.
Yeah,
That's all I want.
honestly. Why does anybody go there for anything else? Yeah.
I know, yeah. Give me the butter and the rolls, and I'll just order drinks.
That's so funny.
Hmm. Yeah, so yeah, thanks. This is great. I was trying to see if I had anything left that I wanted to ask you. Ooh, oh yeah, the very important one.
Yeah.
Where can people find you and keep up with your music and see your shows and stuff?
Nice. So I just put out my first website this year. I'm so proud of myself. I put it together. I can't believe it. But it is www.ebonynicolemusic.com. And so I put up all of my shows, I put up any new videos, all of my socials are linked there. And yeah, I'm going to be playing in Woodstock, Virginia in the next month. I'm going to be playing in DC in the next month. And where else? Where else? I think that's it. And Harrisonburg too. But those local shows, I mean, if you want to come to Harrisonburg, please come. But I understand when people don't come.
How big of a town is Harrisburg?
So Harrisonburg is a college town. So James Madison University is here. So I think we have like, I mean, I'm gonna say we have over 40,000, regular residents, but then plus all of the JMU students. So it's a fairly large town. We're really close to Charlottesville, Virginia. We're very close to Richmond, Virginia. So we're kind of in the middle of those.
What would you say is like your end goal with your music? Where would you be like, this is it, this is what I wanted?
Nice. I think my end goal with my music is for somebody else to say, man, you write really cool songs. Will you come and write with me? Because I've always wanted to be a songwriter. I just really haven't found anyone else who wants to sing what I write. So I sing it. And I'm just waiting for somebody else who wants to be like a really cool artist, but they might not know how to write very well. And I can be their like little ghostwriter in the background. Because that's my real goal in life. If I could just like live in a studio, record a bunch of reference vocals, and make songs, I mean, I think that's what I would do. That's probably my end goal in this whole thing.
And it would be a shame for you not keep singing though, because I think you have a really great voice. That's kind of what I seen you like my posts, so I'm like, oh, I better check this out, see what's going on. I looked up your name, I was like, oh, I got a messenger.
Nice. That's so good. I do enjoy singing. Singing is so much fun for me. I also enjoy writing my feelings, so I don't think that will ever stop. But I'm not like looking to be like your next big American Idol. Like that's not that's never been like my super goal in life. I've always wanted to be a songwriter, and I've always wanted to work with other artists. I've always wanted to um keep producing with my producer. Like we work really well as a team and we make really cool songs. And so I want to be able to do that for somebody else as well, not just myself. And, I want to keep playing shows. I want to keep getting better live. I want to keep getting better at my instruments and different things like that. So I will keep doing this, but yeah, definitely a different end goal. Thanks for having me and listening to all of my shenanigans.
Yeah, no, loved it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dane.
All right, thank you.